to the SEC not playing defense and Alabama's so-called vaunted defense, and Nick Saban giving up 48 points, and running back Shivers for Auburn destroyed the safety McKinney for Alabama when he ran him over in that fly sweep to the end zone. It was violent and it was beautiful, and I loved it, even though they didn't score for like the next 8 minutes of the game. And Alabama their kicker missed another field goal. Oxygen is oxygen. Water's wet. Yeah. Shout out to Gus Malzahn. Shout out to Gus Malzahn for pulling that off. And Auburn isn't getting the Florida treatment where just because Florida lost to all the good teams and they beat everybody else, that they still put Florida like near the top 10, which is total bullshit. Auburn managed to knock Alabama from 5 to 12 in the playoff rankings. Yeah, so now pretty much all Utah has to do is just beat Oregon and they should be in, and Georgia just has to lose to LSU, and via proxy, once LSU beats Georgia, hopefully Georgia has to be out of the playoffs. And I really think the AP poll, whoever's deciding this, they do not want to see Ohio State and LSU, and they don't want to see Ohio State and Clemson play each other, because I think Clemson really is the rightful. They could be the best team in the country on the field. Now, I would pick Ohio State or LSU, but I really think people don't want smoke with Clemson. Like, they beat South Carolina.
You're talking about as a team versus talent.
Versus on the field compared to like dominance
raw
throughout
talent.
the season. Like, Ohio State's won by an average of like 50 to 12. Shit is insane. Like, and LSU is just the best team in the country as far as I'm concerned. Because of Joe Burrow and what they do, that offense.
Roll Tide, fuck you.
What did you just say to me? Oh, fuck
Shout
you
out to Coach O.
I'm about to say who. Oh, yeah. I was like, what did you just say to me? We're in a fight right now. But no, yeah, LSU safe. They just have to win. I'm looking forward to the Mountain West title game because Boise State and Hawaii, they beat Hawaii 59-37. But here's the thing. Shout out to Hawaii for coming back. Shout out to our boy, Ryan, all the way in Hawaii. He been holding down Hawaii football all season, whole life. Shout out to him. But, because the first time since, like, they were in the WAC, Boise State finished the regular season undefeated in the Mountain West. They've never been 8-0 in the Mountain West. They had better teams than this, but they're really good. They're using 3 quarterbacks. Their senior Jalen Henderson, who went to like Texas El Paso, went to a JUCO, came to Boise State, played really good the last 3 games. They managed to secure a win against Colorado State. So they're 11-1, and honestly, I think they're the best non-Power 5 team because
aren't they usually?
Yeah, I think they already beat Memphis. But the thing is, Memphis and Cincinnati played to end the regular season in the American Alliance Conference. Memphis beat Cincinnati, but then those two replay each other in the American Alliance Championship game again. So they're both like ranked 18th and 19th, but I think in the playoff system, Memphis is ranked like 17th. But Boise State essentially just has to beat Hawaii. They finished 9-0 in their conference play and be 12-1 with the possibility of getting a New Year's Bowl game, which I think they deserve over Memphis and Cincinnati because I think they're better than both those teams. But the thing is, if Cincinnati beats Memphis, then it's a tie.
I like how you're using all your time to talk about the Mountain West in Boise State.
You asked me, and I'm telling you. That's going to be the most complicated one because whatever non-Power 5 team gets in is going to be a big-ass debate. Well, Boise State should have got it because they lost to BYU on a fluke, but they beat everybody else. So there's that. And you could just say, well, Cincinnati and Memphis played each other and they're in the same conference. And do you count the first win or do you count the second win? It's the same thing with the Big 12, which is bullshit, by the way, because ACC has 14 teams, I think. I'm pretty sure they have 14 teams. The Big 12 has the Big 12 championship game, but they only have 10 teams in the Big 12. And Baylor already...
And doesn't the Big 10 have 12?
Yeah, and Baylor already...
That shit is so confusing every time.
It's stupid as hell. Baylor already lost to Oklahoma because they pulled a 28-3. and lost. But here's the thing. Oklahoma could beat Baylor, which is like, I think ranked 8th or some shit. They're ranked pretty high up. Or no, I think they're ranked like 11th. I don't know, whatever. Pretty much Oklahoma's ranked like 9th. So Oklahoma beats Baylor again to be the Big 12 championship. How do you count that as like impressive? Because you beat the same team twice, but there's only 10 teams in your division, so you had to play them twice. That's stupid. Like, I would only count the first win for Baylor. I would only count the first win for Oklahoma if they beat them again. But if Baylor beats Oklahoma, now you're going to leapfrog Baylor over Utah or over whoever is in that 4 or 5 spot. That makes no sense.
I don't think Baylor gets in.
But does Oklahoma get in if they beat Baylor? Because Baylor's a really highly ranked team.
Not over Utah.
But that's the thing. That's the whole, because everybody's saying certain fan bases don't travel. Oklahoma might get the vote. Jalen Hurts is already a Heisman candidate for what he's done with Oklahoma, but their defense is bad. It's a lot of complicated shit.
My take on this whole issue has always been, honestly, between Oklahoma and Utah, like, which team is really going to make any noise versus OSU? But that's what I'm saying. I would rather see them two play each other to get in, either in the 8th seed or either in a playing game, than see either one of those teams play versus Ohio State or Clemson.
I think all the conference champions should play each other with one play-in, which would be 7 teams, I think.
Sure. Go for it.
They're stupid.
All right, man. Anyway, so get to the fire coaches.
I'm finishing it. And the last one, I'll just go with this. Utah just has to beat Oregon and win the Pac-12 because they're ranked 5th. And Oregon's ranked, I think, like 10th. They're ranked high back again after their loss. But anyway, coaches who stepped down. Chris Peterson, Washington head coach after going 7-5, pretty much stepped down as Washington's head coach and the defensive coordinator. Renowned recruiter and developer of defensive backs, Jimmy Lake, who apparently was on the staff at Boise State, which is crazy, who's a secondary coach and defensive coordinator. Now he's the new head coach at Washington, which is kind of perfect because they're not going to really lose a lot of the top flight recruits they got, 2 of which in the South Bay, Mike McKellisty and Elijah Jackson, both with the Lawndale. Shout out to Lawndale. So Chris Peterson pretty much just burnt out from coaching. One of the highest winning percentages in college football history. It's like 79%. Got to 100 wins faster than.
Would he be on USC's radar?
He should be, and he was going to be. They had him in the running when he left Boise State. It was either Washington or Boise State, but his personality fit Washington. I think he should have went to USC. Probably would have had a national title. That makes sense. One of the greatest coaches to never win a national title.
It's a totally different.
Because he should have got one at
lifestyle.
Yeah, he should have got one at Boise. But the kicker missed it, and then they got screwed when fucking Boise State and TCU played each other, and they were ranked like 4 and 3 or 3 and 5 in the country that one year, and they played in the Fiesta Bowl, which was like, okay, they beat each other, but you got by not having these two teams play like a Power 5 conference champion. So, yeah, Jimmy Lake promotes head coach, and the Pac-12 was like the most progressive conference. They have like 5 black head coaches. Most of the black head coaches in college football are on the Pac-12.
Unfortunately, they also have a mediocre one named Clay Helton, who's still coaching.
He's not black, though. Kevin Sumlin, also Arizona, they were like 4-8, but he's coming back for year 3, even though they totally wasted Clay.
But yeah, I'm just saying Clay Helton's mediocre, and I still don't know why he has a job.
I'm getting to that.
Because he's a good dude?
I'm going to combine it with Utah.
Because he's a good dude.
I'm going to combine it with the Utah thing. Don't worry.
Nice guys don't always finish last. Sometimes they get enabled for like 7 seasons.
Become sycophants, but whatever. You know, he's like, the kids respect him, but it's like a Larry Coker situation. But I'll get to that later. Fired coaches. Ole Miss, Matt Luke. Like their star running back and star defensive player stormed out of a meeting with the officials when they found out.
Didn't they just hire him recently? Like Matt a year Luke, or two ago?
He only had 2 years coaching there.
Yeah.
He was 6-6 his first year. They lost the Egg Bowl because their stupid-ass receiver decided to do a dog motion and lift his hind leg up and piss and got penalized, and they missed the extra point and lost 21-20. Mississippi State. Mike Bobo, Colorado State head coach, got fired. Boston College head coach Steve Addazio got fired. They won their last game of the year to get bowl eligible, but they haven't really won more than 7 games since he's been there, and he pretty much won with other people's talent. And there's a former Boston College linebacker / former Atlanta Falcon, who pretty much said like they blackballed him from going to games and tried to like speak bad on him. It's a whole story. He tweeted it out. You should check that out. But yeah, Steve Addazio fired. Chris Ash, Rutgers head coach, fired. Barry Odom, Missouri head coach, fired. They're both eligible too, but you know it is what it is. Shout out to Kentucky and Lee Bowden, senior, junior, the wide receiver turned quarterback. He's probably gonna win like the all-purpose Heisman this year. He should. He's one of the reasons. Like they ran like 300 yards rushing on Mizzou's defense. Like Mizzou's defense was bad. And Missouri, because of that's probably why he got fired, Odom, because they really didn't do much. But anyway, yeah, Clay Helton's being retained. There was an initial report by Addazio, Sports Illustrated, who said that he's being fired. Which was
fucking weird because it sat for 11 days. For 11 days, they were probably seeing who was out there. And essentially the president comes out and is like, well, the alumni and the students were kind of 50-50 on whether or not we should fire him, and like the board, and like, but it's like, bruh, you're the decision maker. The decision starts and stops with you. Like, why are you taking other people's attention? Like, what does Parcells always say? You start listening to the fans, you become one.
Yeah, and like the donors were like threatening to pull their money out, and former USC players, like Tony Burnett, he was talking about it. He was like, y'all got to support them kids, even if you don't support the coach. But yeah,
that's fair. That's a good take.
So yeah, they're keeping him despite the fact that he has all this 5-star talent, and like at best he won like 8 games this year. Like that's just a happy norm. Like, oh, we get to 9 wins or 10 wins.
That sounds a lot like a UCLA season. I'm just saying
that's the best case scenario for UCLA.
Exactly, season. And that's not acceptable for the Legion of Troy.
Yep. Goddamn right it isn't.
Something needs to be done, but
yeah,
that's all I got to say.
Shout out to the great people at USC and their fantastic friendly tailgaters, though. Shout out to them. All right, but anyway, Greg Schiano back at Rutgers, 8-year deal. 8 years, $32 million. They still wanted it fully guaranteed, but the administration and everybody was fighting because they were trying to figure out if they wanted his contract to be fully guaranteed, and it was a whole shit show. And yeah, shout out to Paul Feinbaum for being a total asshole, saying that the country doesn't want to see Utah play in a playoff game, even though their fans travel really well. And they did get blown out by USC this year, but they've been utterly dominant pretty much since then.
See, this is why I get upset at you.
What?
That would have been a perfect thing for Take or Tangent. Oh.
Somebody deleted it because I had it written down.
Yeah, because I was going to use it for Take or Tangent, which you admitted off the rundown.
I mean, yeah, I did. But I added 4 things, so shut up.
And they're all trash. The 4 things you added were all trash. They're not Take or Tangent.
No, the one about Derek Carr is really good. You just don't understand Derek Carr anymore.
No, you don't understand. I don't think you understand the games.
Derek Carr is literally... Okay, fine. I'll give you one. Derek Carr is winless in Kansas City for his career. Take it.
God damn. How long have we been doing this show?
A while. I might have CTE. I don't know.
Yeah, clearly. Okay, so now the drop is played, so go ahead.
Asshole.
Continue.
You're such an asshole. Derek Carr has never won a game in Kansas City in his career. I think Jamarcus Russell won 2 games in Kansas City. Derek Carr just can't win in Kansas City for his career, and he's just not getting better as a quarterback. Which, do you have a take or a tangent?
My take on it has been for about a year and for about 15 months is we've been witnessing the end of the Derek Carr era, and I think the final rising action to that was the past 2 weeks where they've been getting the dog shit beaten out of him, and pretty much Carr went and talked to Vic Jaffer and essentially said, like, it's just been 2 bad weeks. Like, we as a team has had 2 bad weeks, which is fine. Not everything is on him, but at the end of the day, you're supposed to be the face of the franchise. You're supposed to be the X factor, and the fact that you, one, are not that just because you're playing a game manager style, but 2, even if you were playing at the caliber that you were during the 3-game winning streak, it's still not enough to beat Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So anything else, outside of that is no, because if you can't win in the AFC West, if you can't beat the Chiefs, if you can't beat Andy Reid, you can't beat Pat Mahomes, then what the fuck are we doing? Period.
And